I already kind of started in on it, and this is like a couple different rounds, but like these are some of my Halloween books
Nice.
that I got. So
let me get you by yourself. There you go.
Okay. So I haven't read any of these ones yet. I just finished the books I was reading, which was like kind of a mix of like some of my ones that I had on the shelf for a while. Mostly spooky, although I am also reading Anna Karenina very slowly. So these days I tend to read 5 books at a time. So, but I just finished the other 4, so now I'm going to choose from some of the ones from this stack. So I got Haunted by Chuck Palahniuk. I don't know exactly
that
how you say it.
Color is cool. I mean,
Yeah.
that color is cool.
He's the author of Fight Club, so this one's a straight horror novel. I'm like pretty interested in that. The Mummy, A Tale of the 22nd Century. So around the same time when Mary Shelley wrote Frankenstein, within a few years, Jane Webb wrote this novel about a mummy who is brought back to life in the 22nd century. It is apparently like crazy full-on sci-fi, but it was just like so out there that like it didn't get popular the way that like Frankenstein did. So I'm very interested because this book is from like 1820 or, like the 1820s, somewhere in there. And I'm like, how have I never heard of this before? But anyway, it's a relatively new edition from the Haunted Library of Horror Classics.
Another great cover, too.
Yeah, I love it. So I hope like it's good. We'll see. And then I got Zach Baggins' Dark World. He's the host of Ghost Adventures.
Wow. It looks like Christopher Reeve.
Yeah, a little bit. I'm actually like writing I'm like mostly editing my novel that I've been working on for years, but I'm like planning and like writing a little bit on a novel with a main character who is inspired by Zach Baggins and then like a couple other people. But I saw his book and I was like, okay, I'm just gonna get it and I can kind of like get inside his head a little bit more.
A little bit of research.
Yeah. So then this one, The Monk, is a 17th century novel, 1796. Apparently it's about like its author was a member of parliament.
Looks like Possession or something.
Yeah, I'm just going to read
Possession or something.
It recounts the diabolical decline of Ambrosia, a Capuchin superior who succumbs to temptations offered by a young girl who has entered his monastery disguised as a boy and continues his descent with increasingly depraved acts of sorcery, murder, incest, and torture. Combining sensationalism with acute psychological insight, this masterpiece of Gothic fiction is a powerful exploration of how violent and erotic impulses can break through the barriers of social and moral restraint. This edition is based on the first edition of 1796, published before Lewis made revisions to avoid charges of blasphemy.
Wow.
So yeah, he was going to be executed for this book.
Wow.
I got Kill Creek. I don't know anything about this author, Scott Thomas. It just sounded kind of interesting. It's set in Kansas. At the end of a dark prairie road, nearly forgotten in the Kansas countryside, is the Finch House. So a best-selling horror novelist is invited to spend Halloween night in one of the world's most infamous haunted houses. He won't be alone. There are 3 other horror writers who are going to join him. Wow. But there's a demonic entity in the house. It sounds like.
That sounds like a really cool premise, actually.
Yeah, so I'm like interested in that one. Then I got Reluctant Immortals. This one, again, I don't really know much about the author, but they do mention Mexican Gothic on the back cover, which is a book I enjoyed. So they're taking Lucy from Dracula and Bertha Mason. Oh, okay. It's Mr. Rochester's wife from Jane Eyre. She was like locked up in the attic, like she's considered insane. And they both are like vampires, and so they live in 1967 Los Angeles. But then Dracula moves into a house in San Francisco. So I guess they're like really close together now, and like shit's gonna go down. I don't know. I just like read that description and was like, okay, sure, why not? That sounds great. This one, I've read a lot of Algernon Blackwood's other ghost stories, and they're great. Like, he is a really underrated ghostwriter. He has one called Keeping His Promise that like gave me like, it just gave me the chills while reading it. And it's like,
wow,
it's rare that a book will do that to me these days. And then Haunted Island, which is widely like anthologized. I really love that story. So this one is like probably it's the only like there's one of two collections that I know of that like the collections were written in his like as they were ordered in his lifetime. Mm-hmm. This is one of two that I've heard of. So I like finally was like, I'm just gonna get it. It's a Penguin version. Ironically, I got a different version that only had 4 stories in it, and I was like, when I got home, I was like, where the hell are the other stories? Like, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 stories in this collection. Where are the other 5 stories?
Wow.
So I gotta return that version. The cover is cooler on that version, I think, but this one's pretty cool. Ancient Sorcery, the title story, apparently became the basis for the film Cat People.
Okay. Paul Schrader.
Yes, but it was that was a remake of a 40s version.
Oh, was it really? Okay.
Yeah, so I'm assuming the 40s version is closer. I've seen both of them. I like both movies. The 40s one is a little preferable to me just because I really like how they worked with shadows and they did the cinematography on that one. Mm-hmm. I was initially put off by both of them because essentially the entire movie is men telling the woman, "You're not a cat person," and then she turns into a cat. And the last one is My Best Friend's Exorcism, which like the cover
like
of the book.
Yeah, it looks like a movie.
Yeah, it looks like a VHS. Amazon Prime is coming out with a movie version. We actually could have seen it at Beyond Fest, but we were already like seeing like Hellraiser and a couple other movies that we were going to be able to see streaming for free. So we were like, all right, like let's wait for reviews, or we'll just watch it when it comes to streaming. We don't need to like see it in theaters right now. But I'm really interested. It looks really fun. I mean, like the cover just looks so fun.
It really does. I would be drawn. I'd be drawn to that too. I'm drawn to it now. Like, oh, that looks really cool.
Yeah. Like, so like a lot of these were like ones that I've looked at Barnes and Noble for a while and been like, oh, I kind of want that. And then like finally, I was just like, I'm just gonna like, I know it's gonna be like $100-something, but I'm just gonna like get all of the books that I've been eyeing from them.
Spooky season.
Yeah, well, I was like going through my stuff and I was like, I don't really have a lot of new horror stories because like a new horror story comes in and I read it. Oh, you know what? I will recommend one that I did read. They have a movie coming out soonish. Dark Harvest by Norman Partridge. This book is so good. It's like really short. My version is 197 pages. So it's a very quick read.
It's gonna be a movie soon, you said?
It's gonna be a movie next year, I think. It's like in production right now. The plot is like sort of like The Lottery. There's like a small town with an ancient ritual, and the ritual involves scarecrow-like creature called the October Boy. And so he's like a scarecrow with a pumpkin head, and he has candy guts. And so then they starve all the boys in town on Halloween night, and they let them loose to attack and kill the October Boy. And meanwhile, the October Boy is given a weapon, a bladed weapon, and is sent to kill them.
Wow.
It's really
Suspenseful.
It's very suspenseful. It's really dark. Also, like, it's so quick. There's a bunch of twists, but it starts on the night of the of Halloween. Like, they're releasing the boys. That's just where it starts. They don't like give you any time to like be like, oh, I guess there's a magic scarecrow thing that they're gonna kill. But yeah, it's insane. So I hope the movie is good, but the book is really good. So I would highly recommend that one. These other ones I'm excited for. I have not read them yet, so I don't know.
Well, they all look like great choices. Look like a lot of fun covers.
Yeah.
So hopefully people are seeing this and they get some recommendations.
For more Return of the Disc, visit returnofthedisc.com. Check out the audio version of today's show, available on all major podcast platforms. And be sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel